So I like to say that Dajen Eats is the home of the Irie Happy Vegan. And that says a couple of things about us. It says, one, that we're vegan, which means all of our food here is plant-based. But then Irie, are you familiar with the word Irie? So Irie is a Jamaican expression of happiness and contentment, which should tell you a couple of things: that I tend to be a pretty happy person and that I'm Jamaican. So our food really is vegan food with a Jamaican flair. So you get all of the traditional island flavors in plant-powered ways. Of course, non-vegans are welcome. Before we moved to Eatonville, we did a really interesting / insanely crazy thing by opening up a vegan restaurant in a gas station. The reason we did that was specifically to make vegan food accessible to everyone. So vegan food so far has this really interesting reputation, right? It's for some people, it's not for some people. All vegans only eat grass, or vegans eat sawdust or some crazy thing like that, right? And when I opened up Dajen Eats in the gas station, I wanted to show that vegan food is just food. Like, one of the things that I've known about, like say chicken, when you're eating chicken, everything tastes like, oh my God, you try something new and this tastes like chicken. It's because we don't really know what chicken and beef and all of that tastes like. What we associate with these meats are the seasonings and spices that go on top of it. So you take something that you normally would season chicken with and you put that on something else, you're going to end up with something that tastes like chicken. And so because we focus so much on familiar flavors, everybody can find something on the menu that they'll just absolutely love. Whether you're vegan, non-vegan, veg-curious, a meat and potato guy, we have something for you. My journey as a chef. That is such a funny question, because for a long time, it took me forever to embrace the title chef. And one of the reasons is because I'm not trained in the traditional sense. Like, I didn't go to culinary school and learn, all the technical skills. So I'll tell you a little bit about how I got here and how I finally embraced chef. All right, so I came to America when I was 16. I came here without family. And I quickly realized that in order to continue enjoying certain luxuries like eating and living inside, I needed to stop eating out. And that's how and why I started learning how to cook. Now, there is an idea that you start a new skill and you absolutely are wonderful the very first day. Maybe it worked for somebody else, didn't work for me that way. I had some unbelievably disastrous dishes in the beginning, like almost burned down my apartment twice in the beginning. But then I geek out about things, and I totally geeked out about food, and I started studying food science in great depths, whether by the school of Google or via Ruby, an online cooking school. I really started to study what makes salt react this way, why do these spices work together and that doesn't work well with something else. And I think understanding, getting a grasp of the basic food knowledge, it's something that you can build upon, and it will make your experience in the kitchen that much more pleasant. And that was how I started cooking. I love talking about food, as you can tell. And so when I learned a new technique, I would share it with somebody else. I'd say, hey, you know what? I learned this new technique. If you try it this way, you'll get this result. Let's cook together. That's always been my thing. Let's cook together. And that progressed from cooking together to doing a demo at Veg Fest, then doing cooking classes. Then people started saying, can you put your food in a box for us to buy? And then selling food. We moved on to, I think we did meal deliveries. And then we did pop-ups. For example, we used to do pop-ups at the district at Mills 50. After that, we opened a restaurant in the gas station. We did a whole year there, and then we moved to our own standalone spot in the historic town of Eatonville. I feel so honored to be a part of the Eatonville community. Rumor has it that we're the first vegan restaurant in Eatonville. I think that's such an honor for us. For those of you guys who don't know about Eatonville, hang out with me for like a couple seconds and I'll tell you. Cool? Okay, so Eatonville is the oldest all-black incorporated municipality in the United States. The slogan for Eatonville, it's the town that freedom built. And the idea was for a community where African Americans could self-govern. They'd have their own government, they'd have their own mayor, and also importantly, that they could own land, which would allow them to vote. Because way back when, if you didn't own land, you couldn't vote. And of course, if you don't vote, you have no representation. So that's why the town of Eatonville is so significant for African Americans, one, and also for American history and the culture of what makes us truly American. So being able to come here and an immigrant, right? Because I'm from Jamaica, to come to a town of people who look like me. One of the things that I wanted when I first opened up the cafe in the gas station was to make veganism accessible. It has a reputation for not being for black people, which I get, but that is absolutely not true. And I wanted to make it so that everybody can see themselves represented, because representation in all forms of life matters, right? So if you see someone who is providing food with flavors that you're familiar with and they happen to look like you, there's a good chance that you'll probably take a chance on this crazy thing called vegan food. And that's why we're so excited to be in the town of Eatonville. So being a female entrepreneur for me is kind of interesting, because I get asked that question a lot. What does it mean to be this female boss or owner of a company? And I will tell you that in the day-to-day activities of operating the business, I don't think of myself as female. I just think of myself as a business owner trying to make this thing work. Now, when I'm reminded that I'm female, usually occurs when there's interaction with other people. One of the things that I think female business owners face is someone else's idea that they do not have the right to occupy that space. And I want to remind every female out there who has this crazy notion that they want to start their own business, go for it and do it, but make no apologies for the space that you occupy as a business owner. Your attributes are not limited to being a woman. The space that was carved out for you is not because you are a woman. I firmly believe in allowing your talent and your hard work to speak for you. And along with that talent and hard work speaking for you, you can assign a value. You don't allow somebody else to say, this is what your work is worth. And sometimes people will say it's worth less because you're a woman, which is insane, right? So fix your price. There's this quote that I like that my friends used to send to me. It said, know your worth, then add tax. And I love that. And I know that there's this idea that we tend to be the softer sex and we don't think logically. Reject all of those ideas. We're completely capable of fully operating our businesses and standing within that space and owning that space and charging exactly what we're worth. Got it? Good. Okay, darling, so if you are ready to jump on the Irish side of life, if you're ready to come and try some awesome vegan Jamaican food and meet the amazing Irish team, come on down to our new location at 323 East Kennedy Boulevard, Suite F, in the historic town of Eatonville. Darling, let's eat in Eatonville.